Healthcare providers nationwide are sounding the alarm about the flu virus. In some parts of the country, cases are nearing a 13-year high. Here in Louisiana, cases haven't spiked yet, but experts are warning people to stay alert. Dr. John Jones gives Kara some tips on beating the flu.
So we're right in the middle of flu season right now. Can you first explain what's the difference between the flu and COVID-19?
So they're very similar actually in the disease process as far as the symptoms that you're having. And you get myalgias, body aches, fevers, cough, cold, congestion, very similar. The viruses are different and some of the complications that you get from the viruses are different. COVID, when it first came out, the initial variants obviously caused a significant respiratory illness, and we put a lot of people in the hospital on ventilation. And then the flu, historically, has done some of the same things with respiratory illness, but not quite as bad, mostly because we have become and developed some immunity. So usually not as bad unless you have comorbid problems.
All right, so and whenever you say comorbid problems, you're talking about, again, people that have underlying...
Other medical diseases, high blood pressure, diabetes, cancers, those types of things.
So for a while, during this pandemic, it seems like we didn't have that many flu cases. Most people were focused on COVID, and that's what people were catching. Now are we back to normal, or are we still seeing more COVID than the flu?
Yeah, so we're seeing a bit of a normalization of the patterns that we have seen historically. The reason I think that we didn't have a lot of flu during COVID was because we were all wearing masks, and so people were protected. And you get the flu by contagion. So when people spread it among themselves, then that's why we get these epidemics in flu that we get to see every year. So.
And also, if you go back a couple of years to about 2018, 2019, people were really worried about the flu because it seemed like cases were getting worse and the flu season was approaching quicker. Is that the case this year?
So not so much that it's approaching quicker. I mean, we're actually probably about normal for this time of the year for flu. And I think the severity of the illnesses are different this year because we're seeing mainly influenza A, which is the type of flu that's a little bit tougher. It causes a little bit more severity of illness.
So in other parts of the country, they've been reporting higher cases of the flu. And this has been, the worst flu season in about 13 years or so.
Right.
Do you think that that's happening in other parts of the country, and why haven't we seen that big of a spike here?
It's timing. It's coming. We just haven't seen it yet. If you want to know the truth, that usually we're a little bit more delayed than the northern part of the country. Yeah, when you have viruses that are contagious like that, when you're indoors more, it's more contagious and you spread it more. So it's colder up north sooner than it is down here, so we always are later in getting these things.
As far as tips go for preparing for flu season and making sure that you're safe and your family is healthy, what do people need to know?
It's the same things that we talked about with COVID, right? So you need to practice social distancing, you need to wash your hands, you need to avoid contact with those that are known sick as much as you can. When you're coughing, protect yourself and what you're coughing out so that other people don't get it. It's the same things that we talked about with COVID. So.
All right, so the basics: wash your hands, cover your mouth, and don't stick around too close to people.
Yeah, stay away from sick people, right? Yeah,
all right.
If you can.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time out and giving us some tips.
Well, thank you.